It is a pleasure to have you with us at the English Story Journal. Today we are practicing your English pronunciation. Listen closely to the narrator, and when you see your turn, read the sentence out loud during the pause. Let's begin.
Marilla walked quickly as Matthew opened the door. But she saw the strange girl in an ugly dress and stopped, surprised. Matthew Cuthbert, who's that? She asked. Where is the boy? There wasn't any boy, Matthew said sadly. There was only her. He nodded at the child. No boy, but there must have been a boy, Marilla said. We sent word to Mrs. Spencer to bring a boy. Well, she didn't. She brought her. I asked the station master, and I had to bring her home. She couldn't be left there, no matter where the mistake had come in. Well, this is a pretty piece of business, Marilla said. The child watched quietly. Her face changed. She understood. She dropped her bag and stepped forward. You don't want me, she cried. You don't want me because I'm not a boy. I might have expected it. Nobody ever did want me. I might have known it was all too beautiful to last. I might have known nobody really did want me. Oh, what shall I do? I'm going to burst into tears. She started to cry. She sat on a chair, hiding her face. Marilla and Matthew looked at each other, not knowing what to say. Marilla spoke. Well, there's no need to cry so about it. Yes, there is need. The child raised her head quickly. You would cry too if you were an orphan and had come to a place you thought was going to be home and found that they didn't want you because you weren't a boy. Oh, this is the most tragical thing that ever happened to me. Marilla's serious face softened. She almost smiled. Well, don't cry any more. We're not going to turn you out of doors tonight. You'll have to stay here until we investigate this affair. What's your name? The child hesitated for a moment. Will you please call me Cordelia? she said eagerly. Call you Cordelia? Is that your name? No, it's not exactly my name, but I would love to be called Cordelia. It's such a perfectly elegant name. I don't know what on earth you mean. If Cordelia isn't your name, what is? Anne. Surely. But oh, please do call me Cordelia. It can't matter much to you what you call me if I'm only going to be here a little while, can it? And Anne is such an unromantic name. Unromantic fiddlesticks. Marilla said. Anne is a real good, plain, sensible name. You've no need to be ashamed of it. Oh, I'm not ashamed of it, Anne said. Only I like Cordelia better. I've always imagined that my name was Cordelia. At least, I always have of late years. When I was young, I used to imagine it was Geraldine, but I like Cordelia better now. But if you call me Anne, please call me Anne spelled with an E. What difference does it make how it's spelled? Marilla asked. Oh, it makes such a difference. It looks so much nicer. When you hear a name pronounced, can't you always see it in your mind, just as if it was printed out? I can, and ANN looks dreadful, but ANNE looks so much more distinguished. If you'll only call me Anne spelled with an E, I shall try to reconcile myself to not being called Cordelia. Very well then, Anne spelled with an E. Can you tell us how this mistake came to be made? We sent word to Mrs. Spencer to bring us a boy. Were there no boys at the asylum? Oh, yes, there was an abundance of them, but Mrs. Spencer said distinctly that you wanted a girl about 11 years old. And the matron said she thought I would do. You don't know how delighted I was. I couldn't sleep all last night for joy. Oh, she said, looking at Matthew, why didn't you tell me at the station that you didn't want me and leave me there? If I hadn't seen the white way of Belite and the lake of shining waters, it wouldn't be is so hard. What on earth does she mean? Marilla asked. She's just referring to some conversation we had on the road, Matthew said quickly. I'm going out to put the mare in, Marilla. Have tea ready when I come back. Did Mrs. Spencer bring anybody over besides you? Marilla asked when Matthew went out. She brought Lily Jones for herself. Lily is only 5 years old, and she is very beautiful and had nut brown hair. If I was very beautiful and had nut brown hair, would you keep me? No, we want a boy to help Matthew on the farm. A girl would be of no use to us. Take off your hat. I'll lay it and your bag on the hall table. Anne took off her hat. Matthew returned. They sat for supper. Anne could not eat. You're not eating anything, Marilla said. Anne sighed. I can't. I'm in the depths of despair. Can you eat when you are in the depths of despair? I've never been in the depths of despair, so I can't say, Marilla said. Weren't you? Well, did you ever try to imagine you were in the depths of despair? No, I didn't. Then I don't think you can understand what it's like. It's a very uncomfortable feeling indeed. When you try to eat, a lump comes right up in your throat, and you can't swallow anything. Not even if it was a chocolate caramel. I had one chocolate caramel once, 2 years ago, and it was simply delicious. I've often dreamed since then that I had a lot of chocolate caramels, but I always wake up just when I'm going to eat them. I do hope you won't be offended because I can't eat. Everything is extremely nice, but still I cannot eat. I guess she's tired. Best put her to bed, Marilla. Marilla wondered where Anne would sleep. The kitchen bed was for a boy. The guest room was not right. Only the east gable room was left. Marilla lit a candle and told Anne to follow. Anne sadly took her hat and bag and followed. The room was clean. Marilla set the candle on a small table and pulled back the bed covers. I suppose you have a nightgown, she asked. Anne nodded. Yes, I have two. The matron of the asylum made them for me. They're fearfully skimpy. There's never enough to go around in an asylum, so things are always skimpy, at least in a poor asylum like ours. I hate skimpy night dresses. But one can dream just as well in them as in lovely trailing ones with frills around the neck. That's one consolation. Well, undress as quick as you can and go to bed. I'll come back in a few minutes for the candle. I daren't trust you to put it out yourself. You'd likely set the place on fire. When Marilla left, Anne looked around a room sadly. It felt cold. She quickly undressed, put on her nightgown, and jumped into bed, hiding her face in the pillow and pulling the covers over her head. When Marilla came back, Anne's clothes were on the floor and the bed was messy. Marilla picked up Anne's clothes, put them neatly on a yellow chair, then took the candle and went to the bed. "Good night," Marilla said. Anne's pale face and big eyes suddenly appeared from under the covers. "How can you call it a good night when you know it must be the very worst night I've ever had?" she asked. Then she hid under the covers again. Marilla washed the dishes. Matthew was smoking. He rarely did, but Marilla knew he needed to express himself. "Well, this is a pretty kettle of fish," Marilla said. "This is what comes of sending word instead of going ourselves." Richard Spencer's folks have twisted that message somehow. One of us will have to drive over and see Mrs. Spencer tomorrow. That's certain. This girl will have to be sent back to the asylum. "Yes, I suppose so," Matthew said. "You suppose so?" "Don't you know it?" "Well, now, she's a real nice little thing, Marilla." "It's kind of a pity to send her back when she's so set on staying here." "Matthew Cuthbert, you don't mean to say you think we ought to keep her?" Marilla was extremely astonished. "Well, Now, no, I suppose not. Not exactly, Matthew said. I suppose we could hardly be expected to keep her. I should say not. What good would she be to us? We might be some good to her. Marilla Cuthbert, I believe that child has bewitched you. I can see as plain that you want to keep her. Well, now, she's a real interesting little thing, Marilla. You should have heard her talk coming from the station. Oh, she can talk fast enough. I saw that at once. It's nothing in her favor either. I don't like children who have so much to say. I don't want an orphan girl, and if I did, she isn't the style I'd pick out. There's something I don't understand about her. No, she's got to be dispatched straightway back to where she came from. I could hire a French boy to help me, and she'd be company for you. I'm not suffering for company, Marilla said, and I'm not going to keep her. Well, now, it's just as you say, of course, Marilla. I'm going to bed. Matthew went to bed. Marilla put her dishes away and went to bed, frowning. Upstairs, in the east gable, a lonely child cried herself to sleep.
Thank you for spending time with us. I hope this story brought you peace and reflection. We will see you soon.